Welcome back to Squawk Box. The Gulf Coast escaped the worst of the wrath of Hurricane Barry, but the storm revealed some dark clouds for drivers in the Northeast. I want to get over to Brian Sullivan, who joins us now with more on that. Brian, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. Thank you. Luckily, listen, the storm not as bad as expected here. Flooding still severe there, but from the oil and gas perspective, not nearly as bad as been predicted. But here's the reason that we need to pay attention to this, guys, is that every storm in the Gulf of Mexico, Louisiana, Houston, wherever it is going to be more important to East Coast drivers than it had in the past. Why do we say that? Well, remember, about a month ago, the Philadelphia Energy Solutions refinery in Philadelphia exploded and is now closed, likely for good. That was not only the largest refinery in the East Coast, but responsible for about 25 to 30% of all gasoline supply in what they call Pad 1. That is basically the area from Miami to Maine. In other words, we are now a lot more reliant not only on imports by ship into New York Harbor, but imports from the Gulf of Mexico via the Colonial Pipeline or the Plantation Pipeline. Those two pipelines, which every couple years we talk about them when there's a storm, guys, they have suddenly become literally the main artery, if you will, the jugular for U.S. gasoline supply. So, guys, thankfully the storm not nearly as bad as people had thought. But every time now we have one of these storms, all of our refining capacity is now going to be coming from Houston and Louisiana, for the most part, for the East Coast. That means if you're driving, guys, in New Jersey or Maryland or Connecticut or Massachusetts, you're probably getting most of your gas from a refinery in Louisiana or Houston. So if they flood, if there are storms, all of a sudden you might really care.
How quickly, Brian, could that react in prices, do you think?
There's 25 days right now of gasoline supply out there, Wilfred, give or take, I think, a day or two, which is a little higher than expected. So if we had major shutdowns, if we had some pipeline problems, that's kind of what I'm hinting at here. No sign of that right now. But if we did, right now, Wilf, the supplies are enough that we could drive for a week or two. However, we're already starting to see prices go up. And I know a lot of people wanted to see that Philadelphia refinery shut down. There were a lot of environmental concerns. It had hydrofluoric acid, very dangerous chemical. The point is, guys, people said, well, it's not that big of a deal. We can make up the capacity. Yes, we can, as long as, A, those pipelines keep flowing, and B, those refineries on the Mississippi River and in the Houston Ship Channel, they continue to operate. So when you fill up your gas, think, my gasoline, is it local? Is it refinery to table? It's probably coming from the Gulf of Mexico now.